All right, I'm going to get going now, and I'm going to get going by reading a testimonial from somebody who's doing the 60-day challenge. And then we're going to talk about things that come out of it. So she's saying, right from day one of starting this round of the 60-day challenge, something happened. I got a call from someone who had never called me before. It was an old acquaintance, a guy who owns 3 restaurants and leads a team of 80 people. I once sang at one of his events years ago, and I've always seen him as high-value, successful man. He's also a car racer, has very interesting lifestyle. So his call really took me by surprise. Even more unexpected, it was a date invitation. Now, I've been consciously manifesting this to be noticed, pursued, invited out. So this felt like a direct manifestation, literally the moment I began the challenge. But here's where things get real. Although this is something I had been asking for, I didn't feel joy or excitement when it happened. Quite the opposite, it triggered discomfort and even frustration in me. He talked for 20 minutes on the phone, and I found myself mentally checking out and eventually ending the call abruptly and lied to him that my phone died. It felt like too much. And here's a deeper layer. I haven't been with a man for over 5 years. My relationship with masculine energy and interaction hasn't exactly been smooth or easy. So now when the situations show up, situations I thought I wanted, I realize I can't just suddenly flip a switch and open myself up to it. There's a part of me that still feels unsafe, unready, and maybe unwilling. When men look at me at the gym, approach me, compliment me, instead of feeling flattered and empowered, I feel resistance. Some part of my identity is clearly not aligned with this reality I've been trying to create. And that's been the biggest realization. My identity and my manifestations are out of sync. I've called these things in, but a part of me is still pushing them away. That gap is what's creating the emotional turbulence, the frustration, the anger, and the confusion. This is why I've had resistance to this kind of deep work in the past. Every time I started a challenge, I'd get overwhelmed by how intense it became. The insights hit hard, the changes start fast, and I would end up quitting. But this time I'm choosing to stay in it, not just for myself, but for the whole group. Thank you. I feel like it's my responsibility. At the same time, I can't ignore the beauty showing up in my 3D. People are gifting me stuff, giving me thoughtful presents, literal synchronicities and surprises. I know these are the fruits of my inner work. I also hit my long-time fitness goal and never felt better in my body. It creates my new identity, and it's happening fast. Kind of double-edged sword, because I still get hit with waves of frustration and resistance, just like many other women have shared. Thank you, Mona, for holding this space for us. Okay, this is really deep, and I like how people end their testimonials with, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is a problem for me, but by the way, I also got my dream body, and I also got this, and I got this, and I got a new job. But these are, like, as an aside, really what's important." So from their testimonial, you actually realize what's important to that person, right? Because there's always one area of our lives that we would celebrate more when we reach it, whether it's love life. Sometimes this shift throughout life, right? Sometimes money is the focus. After you have a stable income or a high income, then all of a sudden it switches to health or love or whatever, traveling or having more friends in your life. And so the area that hits you the hardest in this challenge is the area that you actually want the most. And you're actually going to end all your testimonials with, "Oh, by the way, I also got X and Y and Z, but they're good, but they're not really." Come on, achieving a fitness goal is a big thing, right? Achieving a specific weight, a state of health, those are big things. Getting a new job, it's a big thing. But I want to talk about her testimonial on manifesting this man. And I told you guys for like a year and a half, I think I've been talking about this specific thing, about manifesting something that's out of sync with your identity. And I think I'm the only creator that I've seen that doesn't focus so much on getting a goal, but really focuses on getting yourself closer to the goal, your identity closer to the goal. For this, you have to invest in yourself the time to do this work, right? I have a product that's called a 60-day challenge. It's a one-time payment, and then you can work with me for, the last 2 years. People have been working with me, if you want to try it. But the most important thing will be follow along with everything I say. Let these words touch you. Do the exercises that I'm putting forward, etc. Because this gap of identity and manifestation, right now, my queens are going to manifest the things that they want. But whether or not they'll be able to keep them or hold them, Somebody else said she met a man unlike every other man that she's ever met. She's around 40 years old, and he was exactly what she described and what have you. And I just saw a message from her the other day in the group that she just had to let him go for some reason. But this is what happens. Manifesting something in your life, sometimes you aren't ready, and it's not a reward. So sometimes if you insist, the universe will give it to you, but it's not going to feel like a reward. It's not going to feel good if it doesn't align with you. It sometimes even can feel like an extra responsibility on you. Okay? Now you're this person who's not ready for this high value man she's describing. He calls. What do you do? What do you do? Because you've been focusing on manifesting this high value, wonderful man. He calls. What do you do? Right? And so if you feel unworthy of him, you're gonna mess it up. This is why I told you guys that when I focused properly on my love life, properly means not here's the list, manifest this man. I've done that too. I manifested that too. It was a disaster. But when I really understood how this is done, my focus was only on me. And my focus was on, hey, I am an amazing wife, and every guy would be lucky. Every guy I date would be lucky, wants to marry me because they recognize that right away. Now, what makes me a great wife, right? Before I'm a wife, while I'm dating, what makes me? What qualities am I developing in myself? What am I doing? So the focus is increasing my worth in the spot where I want to be, in the spot of wife, mother, CEO, whatever it is you want. If you want to be the CEO of a company, you have to focus not on getting the position, because you're not going to be able to hold it if it's just you yourself manifesting it via a set of circumstances. It's about what makes you a great CEO, what makes you stand by a high value man, like a truly good man who's successful in his life, who's ready for a wife. So that's where I want you to bring your focus, okay? Because manifestation is a mirror. It's not a finish line. It's not a finish line. Now he called you. Now what? That's not your finish line. Do you understand? And the one thing we can't manifest is happiness. You can't manifest yourself happy, because happiness comes as a result of the life that you've developed around you, or unhappiness comes as a result of life that you've developed. So happiness is a consequence of your manifestation, of you reaching your goals. If you reach the wrong goals, you're not going to be happy. If you reach goals that are unsustainable based on energy work, you're not going to be happy. It's actually going to make you frustrated, make you uncomfortable, right? So you can definitely manifest something that your energy system cannot hold. And when that happens, I want you to understand, first of all, it's not like, oh, you manifest one thing and then it's never going to come again. You have to take it now. You don't have to take it now. A clear example of people manifesting things that are not able to hold are lottery winners, because we know 90% of them are not able to literally hold on to the money. Their energy system is not set up to be multimillionaires. And it's the same. It's applicable to love life. It's applicable to reaching a goal within a company. It's applicable to having friends who love you, but somehow you don't feel worthy of them and you're going to mess it up. So the identity is more important than manifesting a thing. So the identity of you as a wife, in this case, this queen wants to meet somebody after 5 years of being single. She wants to meet a high value man. She has an exact idea of what she wants to manifest. Your identity of being a wife or a girlfriend, or whatever you want to be of this person, is more important than manifesting you meeting this person. I just want to be very, very clear on that. Think on it as it applies to your specific situation. For those people who are listening, is your goal in line with your identity or not? Okay, because self must change, not the circumstances. But you can force a circumstance to come to life. You can force that, but you're not going to be able to hold it or keep it. So what realities are you calling in that your current self doesn't feel safe receiving? A lot of people think they want to win the lottery, but they hold their self, and their self-identity holds a fear about money, or having a lot of money, or the consequences of winning the lottery, their safety, how it's going to change their family. All of these beliefs affect our manifestation. So throughout me exploring inner work and these topics, I found that the best thing you can do is become better every day. And then everything will fall into place. In religion, they say, seek first the kingdom of God, and then all else will be added onto you. But seeking the kingdom of God means looking here and there. It means becoming better, becoming closer to an ideal being. And then everything else will be added upon you, right? So it's interesting that in our lives, especially as women, we manage so many things. We manage so many things. We manage our husbands, we manage our kids, we manage our careers, we manage our household, we manage aging parents. And we understand all of this has to be managed, but we don't manage self. We don't manage self is last. Or worse, you think self requires no management. It requires no management for you to exist in your current state. You know what I mean? But everybody else requires management of your time. You manage the emotional needs of everybody, but who manages you? That's where you got to ask yourself, who manages you? You got to manage yourself first, and then what you give to others won't even need to be so much, because the quality of it will change. And you may be able, rather than listen to, let's say, your sister, your cousin rant about men and how awful they are every single time she has a date, rather than listen and spend that much emotional support on her, you'll be able to give her one piece of wisdom that will change her approach to it. That's what I mean. When you change, the quality of advice and of you being there for others will change. Somebody says, sometimes I don't think I have a clear, curated identity of who I want to be. Oh, of course not. Of course not. We have to work to develop that. If you're just starting on this, or if you're just in the past, you've been reaching goals and manifestations based on just repeating affirmations and stuff, and they come to pass, you couldn't hold it, you couldn't. Now you understand, though, that the identity is important. So, of course, we are not trained to have an identity. We're trained to go in the whatever direction the collective consciousness and the world goes. That's how it is. That's how we are. We're in complete chaos in the mind. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's going to invest in you to develop your identity, to develop what you're naturally inclined to be. Who's going to do that? The school system's not going to do that. Your parents, even if they're loving parents, they're probably not going to do that, because they have jobs, they have other things to do. They're not even understanding themselves who you are. How many parents spend the time to understand who their kids really is and fit them exactly into that? Think about it. Usually parents are like, okay, what's marketable? Let's see, piano lessons and skating and whatever it is, right? So don't expect to be an adult and have a very, very secure sense of identity or very defined sense of identity. Generally, people have no idea who they are, have no idea what would suit them. They got married because, everybody else did. They bought a house because everybody else did. They did some traveling. They got a 9 to 5 because it's just a standard. It has nothing to do with who you are. Think about this. Probably the majority of things in your life are not suitable for you. In general, the general us. When you realize that, you're like, whoa, what happened here? That's why I'm not happy. You know what I mean? But anyways, back to what we were talking about. Remember, desire doesn't equal readiness. Readiness comes when A, you find yourself, you know what would suit you, and B, develop yourself in that way. Somebody who's been single for 5 years, like this queen in the story, you're probably, unless you focused in those 5 years, usually when people not dating, they have had so much bad experiences with the opposite sex, let's say with men, that they kind of, it's not like they're working themselves to become a better version for men. It's the opposite. They're like, scratch that, I'm not doing that, who cares, I'm just gonna live my own life. So there's no inner development. They don't understand that the experiences they had are based on not necessarily the men, but how they met those men as to where they are, right? Because you can see in the first date, if he opens the car door, how he treats you. You can see by the first texting interactions, his consistency, his responses. Then you end up 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, 5 years later, you're like, oh, I can't believe after I worked so hard and I gave him everything, he left me. He was never good to begin with. But if you were to develop yourself, hey, I'm a wife and I'm looking for a husband. Is this guy my husband that I'm on a date with right now? No, I don't think he could be based on this behavior. Okay, next. Is this guy my husband? Right? So you're seeing things from a different perspective. You're not there to perform for men. You're there to assess. You know you've increased your value to be a wife. And now you're not there to perform for men. You're there to assess. And even if you like somebody immensely, if the assessment says no, and the assessment has to be based on practicalities, then you need to walk away. Okay? I watched a video and there was this week. I was this girl and she said, I have been single for exactly 5 years. It just coincidentally also been 5 years. And then I met this guy and he's everything I ever wanted. And we dated for 4 months now. We loved bomb. We each loved bomb. We both love bombed. And then what happened is I fell hard for him. He introduced me to his parents. I introduced him to my grandma. And then he just texted me that I'm not really, like, it's moving too fast or what have you. And he just broke up with her. And she's, she's making this sound like, oh, it's, how could this be when we had such connection? Like, how could I waited 5 years to meet this guy? I waited 5 years. I tell you guys, I've said this before, but I'm going to repeat it as often as I can because relationships have such a deep impact on women. It can completely derail you. You have to proceed with caution, irrespective of connection and chemistry. You have to proceed. Everybody can pretend for a certain amount of time or can be excited for a certain amount of time. Of course, you're going to love somebody with whom you have chemistry after being single for 5 years. Of course, even for a man, if you had dates with like 6 girls who didn't look like their photos, you weren't attracted to. The first girl you're majorly attracted to, of course you're going to have that feeling. But how long is that feeling going to last? It's probably going to be just a few months if it's just that. And you'll be back to this exact point. You'll be back to like, this is one of the partners will be, this is not my husband or this is not my wife. It's too much. I can sustain this. I can't sustain texting somebody 16, 18 times a day, back and forth, hundreds of messages. None of this is sustainable in an adult life. What you want to do is not assess your relationship on connection and chemistry if you're looking for a long-term partnership or marriage. That's not an accurate assessment, especially if you've been single for a long time. I want to be very clear on this. What you need to assess people on is, remember I told every woman to have a box of her standards of what she's looking for after you work on yourself. I've been on dates where I find the guys attractive, but when they said, my mom's health is my priority, my small kids are my priority, I know the relationship was going to revolve around other people. It's not, I was just going to be like a weekend thing or every other weekend thing. So what am I going to do with that? Even if I like the guy, I'm not going to be happy in that structure as I know it, right? Don't lie to yourself. Don't say, oh, it's okay because it's not like he's seeing other women, he has his parents, he has his kids, what does it mean for me? I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still not happy. I'm ready to dedicate time to somebody. I'm looking for somebody in the same situation. Do you know what I mean? Are you guys with me? Why is everybody so quiet? So I wanted to take up, hold on a second, because I made some comments about, I always make notes on what I want to talk about. If you guys have any questions about the topics that I'm presenting here, you can just ask me. So let's go into the comments that I got, unless you guys have anything. And all of these will be educational. Like I talk about this just to generally give people an idea as to where to look. Kay says, my experience is that the first interaction with good guys are typically awkward also. Yeah, probably. That's probably true. And also the one thing I want everybody to remember is that whoever you feel chemistry towards, especially if you've had a traumatic past or trauma or toxic relationship, toxic parenting, the chemical attraction is probably going to be something that's not good for you. It's just the stimuli from your childhood. Like I realized as I grew up, I found the smell of cigarette smoke on a guy, which now I would find disgusting, but I found that attractive because in my household, people were smoking. I never smoked, but I associated that, I don't know, like all the men in my family smoked, and I don't know what it is, but I found that, and that's a completely toxic thing to find attractive. You know what I mean? So if you have a brain and you start unpacking, hang on a second, what do I really like about this guy? And then you see there are elements of your trauma and of your own toxic past. It kind of becomes laughable. And then you have to do the mental exercise to be like, what are the qualities in a man that will put me forward in life? Is it a man who's supportive of me, who's very consistent? Every time I have a thing, I call him, he's there. Is that the type of guy, or is it the kind of guy, I don't know where he is, it's kind of interesting, kind of mysterious, he calls me, I'm outside your house, let's go for a ride, something like, what is more beneficial for me? That's the idea that you have to ask yourself past the age of 25. Maybe at 22 you're still like, you love that, that's okay. Everything has a time and a season. But you notice how something, if it's out of its season, it becomes hurtful and it becomes ugly. You know what I mean? Like the people who are acting 17 at 40 and it's just ugly. But when they were acting like that at 17, it was kind of cool. So it's like this. Everything has a season. What season you're on, you have to determine yourself and act accordingly. Forget chemistry. Forget connection, which can be based on you guys had the same trauma in childhood. Liesel says, I actually realized my original SP was beneath me, not to sound overly conceited. You don't sound conceited. It's a realization you have based on your understanding your own structure. Has nothing to do. There's people who are beneath you in this life, beneath you energetically, beneath you. And there's something else that happens that I want you guys to understand from an energetic standpoint, okay? When you vibrate higher, this is how actually to measure growth. I want you guys to be able to do this. If you've actually started to vibrate higher, you become almost invisible to people who vibrate lower. So what happened to me in the last few years is that I not running into any situations where people are rude to me, where things happen in a way that insult me at, you know, like at a restaurant or in the street or in the store, any interaction. I'm not experiencing people fighting with each other. I don't see any conflict around me in my 3D life, not on TV I'm talking about. And I don't see anything really negative around me. And this is interesting because it's a good measurement, because when you stay in a certain vibration, the other vibration, the circumstances that are created by a lower vibration will not intersect with your lifeline. Do you understand that? So it's very important to measure that around you. If you see the same conflict you did 2 years ago, you probably haven't grown at all, even if it's not your conflict. If you see kind of the same drama, maybe you haven't distanced yourself enough from the friend group that's creating more of this in your life. And it's interesting when you're no longer a match for chaos, how chaos doesn't unfold around you. Like you see it unfolding in the world and you're like, wow, am I living in a different reality? Am I really lucky? You feel like I'm really lucky. But it's the result of a lot of work and a lot of fine tuning, because chaos is so prevalent in collective consciousness right now that it's so easy to encounter it. Honestly, it's almost impossible not to encounter it. And if you don't encounter it, just know you're vibing higher than the rest. So monitor this, right? So reality edits itself based on your state. We know this. It just simply edits where you're supposed to be. Maybe there's a fight in my neighborhood, but I'm not there right now. So it edits itself. I wanna make sure I get the time to talk about what my queens wanted to talk about in the group. Okay. So I want to talk about people coming back from the past. And while we're doing this 60-day challenge, and I told you guys I had 2 people from my past. One I just ran into, very weird because we don't live in the same area. And one messaged me, also very strange because this person hasn't messaged me since 2021. So This queen says, days up to the 10th day are completed. I've been sick with fever for the past 4 days. I don't have any dreams. But on day 9, someone from the past reached out. My first boyfriend. We haven't talked in more than 10 years. I realized that some limiting beliefs I worked on earlier this year and was trying to eliminate are the same belief I had back then when I was with that person. Perfectly put, because I told you guys, the person that comes back from your past while you're doing this challenge is the person that wants to remind you of what you haven't overcome since the time you were with them or since the time you knew them. It's not necessarily a romantic person. So you have to pay close attention. It's not about your first boyfriend. It's exactly like she says. I worked on realize that some limiting beliefs I worked on earlier this year are the same beliefs I had when I was with him 10 years ago. 10 years ago. These things don't go away on their own. No limiting belief goes away on its own. In fact, the longer it stays with you, the stronger its roots in your mind. So, yeah, that was interesting. And there's other people who said the same thing, but I'm just going to take this one by one and we come back and forth to the, because I just screenshot them to myself. I send them to this other phone while I read them. Somebody says, day 8, I found my account had over $2,000 more than I was told when I checked on it last month. I'm loving it. Yeah, never ask yourself where money comes from. I love this. This has happened to me many times, not with huge amounts, but many times. All of a sudden, there's more somehow. Things increase somehow. And I always try to put it out of my mind as to how it works. The moment you try to dig into it, you're like, oh, yeah, it's this one time thing. No, it's not a one time thing. That happens to you all the time. Normalize this. Normalize this, okay? Then I have someone saying, I have this has to do with the body, okay? And I don't think I talk about the body enough because body is not really a concern of mine personally, but if it is of yours, I want to talk more. I want you guys to ask me more questions. This queen says, I have not been hungry at all. The fast we did on the 25th, we do a fast every new moon with a meditation, made me feel the best I have physically felt in a long time. I started incorporating weekly intermittent fasting. I think my body started to crave different foods, less of them, and whole foods. I feel so unwell when I eat the way I used to eat now. One of my goals has been to work on my relationship with food and my body. I wanted to stop eating emotionally or for dopamine. It was one area where I felt impossible at times, but I wanted to be fully in control of my relationship to food instead of the other way around. The challenge has been a great catalyst for this goal. So again, all these areas of our body, the one that we're struggling with the most will be sort of a dominant change or state, or your awareness will be more on one area of your life than other. It's relationship for this queen as the body, etc. I think when the body is in balance with the way, with its energetic structure, okay, the matrix that we are designed to have, you are in your ideal state to work on other things. So what I'm saying is, do not think the way they think in religion, that the body doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a blob of flesh, and you can just ignore it. And whether you're sick or in pain, or you're not a good weight for that's healthy weight, you're not. It doesn't matter. You can just do this. No, no. The body matters. It matters. It stores a lot of your past feelings, your traumas. Your body is really should be your temple. You should treat it very, very well. It should be your focus. And you may never have been taught how to have a relationship with the body, especially as a woman, how to be feminine, how to give it positive feedback. If anything, you've been taught indirectly how to give it negative feedback. Oh, I don't look like those girls in the fashion magazines or on Instagram now. I don't, I'm not slim enough. I'm not tall enough. My nose is too big, something like that. But you haven't learned how to look at the body and be grateful for the body. And sometimes the body just needs a little bit of pampering. Not pampering, I'm going to go for a massage. It just needs you to love it. It's an energy. I know it's not you live in the body, but it is a live energetic structure that's vibrating, right? You guys know all our particles are just vibrating, and it wants the same thing as every energy structure wants: to thrive, to exist, to be acknowledged, to be loved. So start seeing your body that way. And I'm telling you, like, giving instructions to the body and seeing them come to pass. I don't want to make my content about that because I don't want to be canceled, okay? But seeing them come to pass is not only possible, it's standard. It's standard. And it will start with little things like changing your mind, like this queen is saying. I've been working on my relationship with the body, and then I've noticed and this and that. But you won't notice any changes if you're not working on your relationship with the body. If you're not even seeing the body as important. By the way, when religious people tell you the body is not important, you got to understand they don't live like us. Like, okay, for them it's not important, but they're not over consuming. They're not allowing different people to enter their bodies or touch their bodies and give them bad energy. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay, because I told you, women do process sexual partners' energies in our aura, unfortunately. All of this can be undone, by the way. But those people who tell you the body's not important, they don't live a modern lifestyle. They get by on eating very little food, drinking fresh water. They don't drink Coke and Pepsi, and they don't, again, they're not touched by other people. So it's easy for them. The body just functions for them perfectly or good or well enough to serve them. So think on this. Think on this, okay? I want you to love the body more. See it as a separate entity from you, but as a very important, very lovable entity that you can shape. You, the spirit, can shape your body. And the body does have an ideal structure, and it wants to get to that ideal structure. Okay, let's go on. Somebody says, okay, I put a message myself about completing day 9 and 10, and I said I have I'm writing down my dreams and I'm analyzing them. And somebody says, Mona, you're very blessed to understand your dreams. Even when I dream every night, I don't understand what I'm seeing and what I'm supposed to do about it. Okay, so it's not that I'm very blessed to understand my dreams, it's that this was a lot of work to understand my dreams and to even acknowledge the idea that your dreams have meaning. And they tell you, you know, in science class, dreams are just your brain processing events and they have no meaning. I grew up on that education system, right? Dreams are extremely important. And the first step is to have meaningful dreams and then to understand them. In order to have meaningful dreams, your body cannot be processing anything when you go to sleep. You cannot have just finished a big meal, not snacked, consumed alcohol. All those dreams that you have during the nights when your body's dealing with something will not be meaningful. The only meaningful dreams are dreams where you went to bed thinking about your inner work self. If you're a religious God, you prayed, you journaled, you really thought about something deeply, and your body is not full of food. Okay? And so that's step number 1. And then step number 2 is you really have to know yourself, your identity as they relate to your goals. And I'm only going to give you an example of one of my dreams because the rest are just too personal. One of my dreams in the 60-day challenge was that I was in this big house. Like, it was like a ridiculously big mansion, and there was people around it, some people from my family, and I was looking for something, and I didn't know where it was, and all these people are in the living room, and then people start moving around like throughout the house. They're just like, oh, going to one bedroom, going outside. And in my dream, I'm like feeling so stressed out because I'm hosting this event in my huge big house, mansion house, and I don't have control of the situation. I don't know where everything is. I can't control this person. I can't scream at this person, come back. I can't. So the dream is showing me something for which my identity doesn't align, right? Because my identity is the situation has to be visually in front of me, and I have to be able to control the situation. And I'm able to do that in a smaller space, but not in a larger space. I don't have enough energy to gather everyone like herding cats. Hey guys, time for dinner in a space that has 18 bedrooms. I can't do it. It stresses me out. So that just shows that you can want something. I don't want any 18 bedroom house. You can want something, but if you're not aligned with it, if you still need to work on your sense of control over reality, if you're not letting go, if you're not, have you ever wonder what those people who have those huge mansions in Miami or whatever, how they live? They don't even know what's going on in their homes. This idea stresses me out. They have a staff of 5 in their homes. They don't know. They occupy a small space here, there. They go move around, but they don't know. They don't know where anything is. They don't know. I don't think I could live like that. I have to admit it. It stresses me out. The idea of it stresses me out. Let's see what people said. Valerie, you have this fear too. Yeah. So we can't have 18 bedroom mansions, Valerie. We just can't. We wouldn't be like it is too stressful. But that's okay, because we can still have a wonderful life. Travel more, focus more on travel, focus more on. The space that I'm in is the space that is very coherent with my identity right now. You know what I mean? I'm talking about my physical space. It's big enough. I'm in a 4-bedroom home. It's cozy. I have a big lot. I did the garden really nicely. We have a patio outdoor. It's the space that I can contain in my energy field. I still need to know everything, what's going on in the house. It's interesting. But every single one of my dreams, I think I'm on day 13, and I'm telling you, it's been 13 nights, I think. 2 dreams were meaningless, and I knew exactly one of them I consumed, like something sweet right before my dreams were meaningless immediately. And the other one, I don't know what was happening. Maybe I got my period or something, and it just like I was in pain. So yeah, that was meaningless. But the other ones, it was something about me symbolically. That's how you kind of have to learn to understand the dreams. It's not that meaning in a big house, dreaming I'm in a big house means I'm going to be in a big house. So it means like anything that's going to happen. It's not like that. The dreams are about you. Why you cannot eat food before you can have a meaningful dream? Because digestion is the biggest energy consumption in the body, and you need all the energy that you have to focus your mind into a different state of being, into a different state of dimension. So if the mind, which is connected to the body, is processing chemical substances, digesting food, digestion again it requires a lot of consumption, then it's not likely that you can connect to a higher plane and use that mind connection to the spirit in order, because the mind's busy with the body. Yeah, Valerie, in a big house, I would never see my kids, have no quality time with them. Exactly. Wait until they get girlfriends, Valerie. Even in our smaller homes, like, God. All right. I have a couple more that I want to read. So I have the same thing happened to me. What is this? Okay, so this is about people you have to cut off in your life. So in this work, a lot of people who are in our lives right now currently will no longer be a match to the self that we're developing. And this can happen gradually, but sometimes it can happen unexpectedly. Like your friend of 30 years could just betray you, or you see a side of them in which they say something mean to you and you realize that's a joke they made for 30 years, but it's really something that's against you. You will have a different perspective. So this person is saying the same thing happened to me a few weeks back. I had to cut off a friend in January for a comment she made while drunk that made me distrust whether she's on my side or she is jealous. She texted me a few weeks ago that she's sad that we aren't in touch anymore. I said we could get together next time she's in the area, but I thought through it, and just because she reached out doesn't mean I want to relive the friendship. I still don't trust her enough to be close again. And if she wants to get dinner once every 3 months, sure, but I decided just because she reached out doesn't mean it's a sign to start up again. And ultimately I decided whether I want her in my life or not, there are no signs except what I decide. Yeah, etc. Yeah, exactly. And see, the decision is your responsibility. That's the thing people don't understand. People think, oh, this person came in my life, so it's fate. I gotta be with them. I gotta be with this guy that I have chemistry with. I gotta go back with this friend that, I didn't, something happened, but she messaged me to sign. It's it's either an invitation for you to complete a lesson, or it's a test, but the word test is not, because there isn't some entity testing you, but it's sort of a test of your new identity. Is your new identity stable enough, or do you crave the comfort of the person that you were? Do you crave that comfort? A friend that you had for a long time, a childhood friend, there's such a comfort just in their presence, in their company, in the same gossip that you had about all your neighbors and all your friends. There's a huge comfort and relief in being able to relate to somebody that way. But that's really an invitation to go back to the old you, right? So she's saying she doesn't know if she wants to reignite this friendship. Doesn't mean I want to revive the friendship. um the way I want you to handle this, queen, I want you to ask yourself if even those once every 6 months is necessary. So I don't want you to make a decision about how things are going to go forward. If you really want to meet somebody from your past who reaches out, meet them and see how it feels. See what it brings inside of you, and ask yourself, which parts of this are lessons? Can I do something about it? Can I grow a little bit? Or how did this make me feel? Is this something that's pulling me back in the past? Or has this person changed herself? And now that we're seeing each other after a year or whatever, is it possible that we're both different and we're supposed to be or meant to be or what have you? But what you're doing here, I don't like, because you're saying she hurt me. Now I'm going to meet up with her, and then maybe we can meet every 6 months. You can't make those decisions right now. So you either don't see her, or you decide every next step as you go through it and you assess. Because if you decide ahead of time, you're relinquishing your responsibility of having to assess. Having to assess and awareness are the two most important responsibilities that you have in this life. Can you just manifest someone to stay in your life even with a new identity? No. By the way, when you have a new identity, if you actually do, and if they're dissonant with it, okay, that's what I'm understanding. Otherwise, they're gonna stay in your life. If they're dissonant with your new identity, your new identity is not gonna want them. See, you with your old identity, you're saying, I'm about to manifest myself into a new identity, and I want to take my cousin with me, or my spouse with me. You have no idea what you're gonna want when you actually reach a new identity, right? You're in a loop. You're like, I'm only gonna become better if this person can come with me, because I can't live without them. If you actually become different, you'll be able to live without them if they don't rise to the occasion. The most important thing I mentioned was awareness and assessment. So in order to assess a situation, you have to be aware of the situation. You have to be aware of what's happening. This is why I'm talking about all of these things that come up as my queens are going through this challenge, the 60-day challenge, and situations pop up. So you have to be in awareness. What does this mean for me? Which part of me relates back to this person? And then you have to assess each step as it comes. So you cannot make a decision, I'm going to meet this friend now, and then I'm going to see her every 6 months. You might not want to see her at all once you meet her. Or you might realize she's different. I made a mistake. That's the lesson. And I want to see her again next week. You have no idea. So you cannot make a decision and relinquish your responsibility of making the assessment. The assessment has to be made in every point of awareness. Okay, Rebecca, you asked this question. Somebody else says, this is my 4th time doing the 60-day challenge. I've realized my first responsibility is to myself, and the way circumstances have unfolded to remove people out of my life is beyond my wildest imagination. She's saying, I'm going to read this one more time. I have realized my first responsibility is to myself, and the way circumstances have unfolded to remove people out of my life is beyond my wildest imagination. I was happy and hurt at the same time, but now at least I can look myself in the mirror and swing back in my step. It's simple but not easy, like Mona said, and her meditation has been my background noise every morning. Thank you, Queen. But that's exactly it. Sometimes you won't believe this happened to me 2 times, but one time was dramatic. None of these times that I'm talking about was romantic, but two people that I thought were going to be in my life forever were completely removed, one dramatically, out of my life. And I still think about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm still bewildered by that, because it wasn't like something that I did or something. It was just the way I had to wrap my brain to understand it. I could only understand it to the perspective that once I decided I wanted something else and I didn't want my life to be static, such as, I was also single for a very long time, and I wanted a partner in my life, and I wanted to be married, and I want to have a specific type of marriage, and I wanted a protector, provider, prioritizer, and all of this stuff. Without talking to these people like too much about it or what have you, I noticed that we shifted. We shifted, like with these friendships, like completely. And as I was getting close and I started my relationship, they completely disappeared out of my life. And one of them was more dramatic because, we had other ties together. So, but I'm telling you, I'm more like bewildered than something. I wasn't even hurt in my heart because I understood what was happening. It's important to be able to understand what's happening to you. All right. And what the reason for it is. Okay. Then I was talking to somebody who was telling me it's really good. She feels really good. She was in a masculine energy for a long time. And now she just did a lot of work, step by step, learned to let the man in her life, who was her boyfriend at the time, now she got engaged as her fiance, let him take the lead, let him. And she is so happy to see that he stepped to the plate as she let go of the reins. Like, this was always a good man, but her masculine energy was overpowering. Guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my life. Okay. And now she's saying, and then I said, I completely relate to this feeling. And she said to me, Mona, somehow I feel more powerful in my feminine than in my masculine. Why are women able to be in both energies? Do you think it is a learned or a superpower we have? I have yet to meet a man who is easily in his masculine as in his feminine. It's perplexing. So this question actually has a simple answer. The masculine energy is survival energy. And both men and women are able to tune in masculine energy. Well, for men, it's like natural, if their survival is threatened. And the reason so many women are in their masculine right now is because our survival is threatened, right? Before, the survival had to do with being with a man, having a father, having a husband, what have you. But now we're on our own. Your women are single, they have to work to pay their rent, they're single moms, they don't have that support. So naturally the survival in them tunes in and puts them in masculine, because the masculine energy is what's needed to survive this 3D game. And survival comes above all else, right? The instinct of survival will come above everything. Whatever you're trying to tune in, whatever you're trying to do, you can't do it at the point where food and shelter is in question. You can't do it. So when you're always in survival mode, which happens to so many women. You're in your masculine energy. The idea that, oh, I need to become more feminine and I need to become, all of that has to be trained back in you, and you have to even fake it at first, just like you had to fake it with your fiance. Like, right? Fake it. By fake it, I mean, like, when you feel like doing one thing that it's a man's job, or you decided it's a man's job, you just don't do it. But that's faking it, because you could do it better, faster. You have no problem paying for something or whatever it is, but you stop yourself. So you have to cultivate. When you're in survival mode, you have to cultivate your feminine. But you're asking, how come we can have both? That is a gift. It's a gift from our creator, right? It's a gift from God that we can have both. Guys don't have feminine energy. Actually, everybody has feminine and masculine, but I'm talking about you know, like the majority of the energy. So they probably have, men probably have between, you know, 1 and 15% feminine energy. So um, they don't have this naturally. They have moments when they love or when they feel empathy, when they feel, but that's not their natural state. Their natural state is survival. It's always been like that, right? So we have both, and we can tune in the masculine, and we know we can. But now that we know we can, let's try to encourage the male to be masculine. I'm talking about 90% of the population, okay, when I say generally. Obviously, there's men who have a different sexual orientation. I'm totally empathetic to that. I'm talking about men who want to be men and women who want to be women in this scenario. Let's encourage those men to be more in their masculine, even if you can do it better faster, guys, okay? And let's develop within us the traits of the feminine, which is the creative traits. They don't have creative traits. You know, you often hear, oh, the world was built by men. The world, all these buildings, all these roads are built by men. They know how to build, and they can build. But the world is not made of buildings. It's made of people. Without people, there will be no need for buildings. There will be no need. The world is made of people, and only women can make people, right? We can build people inside of ourselves. People. Think about this. It should give you goosebumps when you hear this as a woman. Goosebumps of your power. You can bring forward people who can build things, right? If you have sons. That's the truth. It's a gift. Okay, and then I have one more on dreams. She's saying, I got my dream. Oh, she's saying this is, I don't know if this is on dreams. Yeah, it is on dreams. But she starts off saying, I got my dream internship on day one. So that means she got the internship, like a physical circumstance in 3D. Then she's saying, I'm happy. My dreams are a bit random though, and some old wounds, fears have surfaced. But I feel like this is very standard for whatever I reach a new level of reality, and I'm trying to let it pass. I've been telling you this, guys, this for a long time, okay? And it's good to have other people confirm it because you hear it from others. Every time you reach a new level, the old wounds that you haven't dealt with will resurface. One second, I gotta put this in here. Okay. They can't not. And I told you guys, like, the majority of your programs, you're not going to be able to erase. They're still dormant in the background, even if you're able to overcome them. So, for example, when we're talking about the masculine and feminine, if something were to happen to that man, knock on wood, you're going to be right back into your masculine because your survival will be re-triggered. And the feminine, the creative, the beauty will take second step to survival. Is what I'm telling you guys. The most important thing for a woman is to be financially stable. It's very, very important to take care of the 3D piece. Take care of that somehow. If you're a woman on your own, I told you 100 times, you can't live within your means. You can't spend everything that you make. You have to live well below your means, because you always have to have some type of financial security. If your father's rich, you don't need to worry about it. And he loves you, you don't need to worry about it. You can always go to him for more money. If you don't have that, think about it. Think about it. So in order to be able to tune into creation, to tune into, you got to be relaxed. You got to be relaxed from all perspective. You can't be dealing with difficult circumstances in 3D. If you're dealing with difficult circumstances in 3D, remember Maslow's theory. You got to go step by step. Food and shelter first, then security and connection, then love and friendship, then self-actualization, and what have you. I think we talked about everything that I had to talk about, that I wanted to talk about. If you had a different comment on, there were so many good Facebook comments. I don't know, like there's many other ones that I wanted to take up, but there isn't time. Please, if you have something that you think would be benefit to others, send me an email. Remember, you can change anything via knowledge, practice, and discipline. Anything can be changed. And what you have to remember is that the life and the programs that you had as a child was a conditioning of society, social system, schooling system, etc. But the life that you have now is up to you. It's up to you. Are we burning beliefs soon? So I thought I would do this towards the end of the challenge. And I thought I would do this around middle of August, like right before. Why? Because as our dreams are coming up and as we're learning more about our limiting beliefs, you can put them all together. So you might not know of some until later on in the challenge. So I thought if we do this like right before the challenge will end August 25th, if we do this, if we gathered enough by then and we do this, it would make more sense. What do you guys think? We can also do it twice. I don't think I mind. I just don't want to focus that much on the negative right now because I think everyone's pushing through. We're on day 13. I haven't missed a day. And I actually find that every single day I spend more time on this because I'm more on my dream tab and I'm more like thinking, and whatever limiting belief comes, I'm thinking, how can I reverse this? Some of them I don't need to reverse. Like the dream that I gave you about the house and what have you. It's I want to let go a little bit of the control that I need to have over situations as they unfold in front of me, but it's not like I'm trying to achieve this palace thing that I was dreaming about. So it's not much to do there. I wasn't getting any notification for Facebook, so I missed the challenge. Will there be another one? I think we can do this every 6 months or so as a group. I mean, it is a lot of work to do it as a group. It's a lot of work for everyone doing it. It's a lot of work for me also. Um, I'm definitely up for doing it every 6 months, and in between you can do your own if you want to. So we can start again, let's say in January. We can do it June and January for whoever wants to participate. But first, I want to have a lot of results for this one. I want people to have inner shifts that they're saying, I can't wait to do this again. I can't wait. And we're already there. Day 13, like the testimonials that are coming in are incredible. And if I have those kind of things, then I'll do it again in January. I think. I don't know, whatever you guys think, but that's what I'm thinking. Thank you so much for your energy. I was thinking maybe for the summer I can do another live on like Thursday evenings or something, but I'll be at home. I don't know. Like if there's enough participation, maybe I'll try it once while we're doing this challenge for the summer, just because, then you can ask more questions as we go along. It would be sort of a different kind of setup. In any event, let's put our hands together for the 369. I'm tapping. I am a winner. So one breath in. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.